as a gym owner, you know the industry that you're in and the advertising and marketing of the things that are popular. When you speak on something as far as mental health and mental awareness, especially for young boys and young men, you realize it's not going to get a lot of airtime. As a gym, we're supposed to focus on weight loss, fat loss, muscles, athletic performance, and then showing it with people doing like extreme athletic achievements or abilities, and in very little clothing, like that's what sells. And also with being a boxing and MMA gym, people want to see knockouts, people want to see submissions, people want to see blood, they want to see guts. But to ignore the actual people involved with that, the people who actually have to administer those things, the people who have to walk through those things on a day-to-day basis, and this is men and women, people who have to do those things, to ignore their mental state, to ignore their overall wellness of what they're doing, and how they have to go about it, and how they have to execute that, to just ignore that is extremely irresponsible on our part. So when you have to speak on those things, and you're looking at the prevention of those things, or just at least being aware of it, you realize it doesn't get any it's not going to get a lot of flight, and it usually only gets a lot of recognition, or only gets kind of any type of attention when something bad happens, whether that person does something self-inflicting to themselves, or they do it to a large group or a small group or multiple people because they're not doing well. But to highlight those things, like most things, the prevention of it, or the protection of that, or trying to make sure people are at their best, it's very small things, because it's going to be the accountability of the people they interact with on a daily basis. If there's not this program, or there's some anagram that goes with it, or some organization or some politician or someone has their hands on it, like, a lot of people don't want to talk about it, because in that respect, and in that thought process, it has people remove themselves, like somebody else will take care of it. Hey, somebody else will deal with it. Like, there will be a program, there's something that'll come in, like people that are not doing well, they'll do it. But like, in reality, like, it's going to be falling on you. It's going to fall on you and the people in the community, because those people, whoever they are going to be who you interact with most. And it's how I grew up. I am lucky enough to have had strong people in my life. And as I talk specifically about mental health for young boys, young men, and me as a male, the main person in my life was my father. And my father's been with me my entire life, from born to now. And I'm lucky to have had a father who took charge and took accountability, and made sure I did the right things, and made sure I didn't do dumb things that could potentially hurt me. And I was from the school, and still am from the school, of that my father is not my friend. To me, that's a huge downgrade. Like, my friendship is built on being liked. And to be an effective father, in my opinion, you can't worry about that. Like, my dad was never worried about being liked. He was worried about having me be responsible and holding me accountable, and calling me on my mistakes, and calling me when I was being a knucklehead. And I'm so thankful that he did that. Like, I had the best father. He always made sure that I did the right thing. Did I always listen? No. But he was always there to provide guidance, and also and provide discipline when things got out of hand, or when it looked like I was going to get out of hand. And oftentimes, and when I was in my youth, when I was younger, those things happened, but he was always there to rein it back in. And it's the same thing as a coach. You can't worry about being liked. That makes you ineffective at your job. And it's a disservice to the kids and the people that you're trying to help. You can't worry about being liked. You can't do your thing. Because when we speak on the understanding of why men don't come forward, we understand why it's a difficult and vulnerable place, why a lot of men don't step forward and talk about it. There's this narrative and this idea that you are accepting, and there's this assumption that you are allowing, or thinking it's okay, that the bad behavior that comes off of that, of not being able to come forward and having a tough time, that you think that's okay. And it's not. Because the next step is, once you establish at least being available, or allowing a space for people to come forward, especially men to come forward and talk to you, the next step is then now accountability. Now you have the conversation of, okay, so what have you done that's contributing to this? Whatever's going bad in your life, the reason why things aren't going good, or why you're not going, like what can we look at? Because if I can hold you accountable to something, you can have control. Because that's the last thing. You don't want to take that away from. You're not trying to fix their problems for them. You need to hold them accountable. And we got to hold accountable the young men and the young boys who come in here, hold everybody, but specifically young boys and young men, because you see what is happening when they're not having a good day, the potential damage and carnage that they can cause for themselves, for a large group of people. Just the numbers just speak to it. So when you get to this place and you hopefully you make yourself available for young boys, young men to be able to come talk to you, the next step is not like allowing that bad thing or that bad behavior to continue. Now it comes to, hey, you need to be accountable for the things you are doing, whatever they are in. Like, can you hang out with different people? Should you hang out with different people? Should you get a job? Should you get a better job? What are you doing now? And it's our job and our responsibility as men, as fathers, as coaches, to hold these young boys accountable. It's not the accepting of their behavior, even if you understand why they don't do it. And I think that component gets lost. It often gets lost because nobody wants to talk about, well, how can I help? It's always like, well, someone else should be doing something else. But it is our job, and it weighs heavily on us to be there for everyone. But again, specifically for the young boys and the young men out here who are having a tough time and who are struggling with, where do I go and who do I talk to? And it most likely is going to be someone that isn't a therapist, someone that isn't a counselor. It's going to be a father, it's going to be a friend, and it's going to be a coach. And we have to make ourselves available so we can guide these young boys in the right direction. And I'm fortunate enough to have been around a lot of strong men. My father always, my uncles, the people in my neighborhood. I grew up, I'm from Louisville, Kentucky. Like in the men in my neighborhood, they were allowed to grab you. They were allowed to let you know. And when I say grab you, I don't mean in a physical sense. Oftentimes it happened like that, but they wouldn't allow you. They wouldn't allow you to stray off the path. They wouldn't allow you to think it's okay. Now, you young kid, you a young knucklehead. Of course you do. You got to go experience things and find out on your own. But it still didn't stop strong, confident, able men who cared about their boys, and even if it wasn't their sons, to pull them to the side and wasn't worried about being like. My Tyler doesn't like me right now. He's probably not gonna like. He can't. For me to be an effective dad, he can't like me. I got to show him like this is how you do things. I love that boy. I love that boy more than anything on this planet. And for me to be his dad, I can't worry about me being his friend. That's a downgrade to me. My father was never ever my friend. He wasn't my buddy. He could not have been an effective dad if that was his pursuit, if that was his priority, if he was worried about being liked. And it's not our priority to be liked here either. Our priority is to be a great resource and be able to be a point of contact for everybody, but for young boys and for young men to come to talk to if things aren't going well, and at least be able to be an ear, or at the very least point them in the direction of where they potentially should go. And this conversation, unfortunately, the prevention of it doesn't get too much attention until something horrible happens. And if we can start to hold ourselves more accountable for our young people, and not hope that somebody else takes care of it, or hope that there's some policy that's going to come in and take care of it. Like, it's on us. It's on you. You need to do it. You need to do it for the people you see, the young boys you see struggling, having a tough time, and pull them in, hold them close, and make sure that they're okay. And you talk to them on a daily basis and stop trying to put it off for someone else to do. It's our job and it's our responsibility. If we don't take on that responsibility, the consequences are and will forever be our fault.